Appreciation is likely the strongest emotion we have for attracting what we want. So therefore, we can grow more easily by expressing our appreciation, showing more love and protection, caring and sharing. After all, it's the essence of the season. Hi there, I'm Adrian Kingston. So glad you could join us for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Coming up on today's pages, see how you can protect the environment as the NSWMA promotes recycling. Plus, it's International Human Rights Day and Justice Minister Delroy will be sharing his thoughts on the topic. And later, a look at how government is reducing its expenditure through energy conservation. Sit back and relax for all these and more in our half-hour package.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
the island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Garbage that is improperly disposed of is not only unsightly but harmful to the environment and our health. The National Solid Waste Management Authority is leading efforts to mitigate the effects through proper solid waste management. They have been facilitating the expansion of garbage recycling activities. Take a look.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, has been partnering with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, since 2004. Over this 12-year period, 30 employees from the NSWMA have been to Japan where they received training in areas that included composting, managing recycling facilities, landfill management techniques, sustainable solid waste for CARICOM countries, sustainable waste management for Caribbean islands, solid waste management A, which consists of basic introductory courses, and Solid Waste Management B, which consists of advanced courses. Beneficiaries on return submit a report and a proposal on the subject matter for funding by JICA under their follow-up cooperation facility. One such project is the Solid Waste Reduction through Waste Separation, Waste Diversion and Recycling Pilot Project.
The solid waste reduction through waste separation, waste diversion and recycling pilot project supports one of the main mandates of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, that is to implement programs that will effect behavioral change. So we welcome this initiative. For the next 6 months, the pilot project will be in 3 communities, namely Caribbean Estates and Caymanas Country Club Estates in St. Catherine and Rollington Town in Kingston. The project is estimated to be about $7 million, of which $6.7 million is being funded by the government of Japan through the Jamaica International Cooperation Agency, JICA, and as such we are very grateful for this. In the coming months, we will be meeting with residents, hosting community meetings, attending the Citizens Association meetings, and basically encouraging persons to separate their plastic containers, their cardboards and cans from their regular household waste. So we will be asking residents to take out these items and a separate truck will come and do the collection, and we will give these items to a third-party companies. The learnings from this pilot project will assist the authority to develop policies and plans to guide and to help us to better manage solid waste and to get residents to buy into the concept of separating their plastic containers, their cans, and also cardboards from their regular household waste. So at the end of the project, we will be in a much better position to determine behavior and attitude towards separation at source, how to really convince and to influence persons, residents, to separate these items from their regular household items.
On behalf of JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency, I am pleased that NSWMA hold this pilot project of waste reduction through waste separation, waste diversion, and recycling. This project is planned by a senior planning officer of NSWMA who had participated in JICA training in Japan titled Sustainable Solid Waste Management for CARICOM countries. After he returned from Japan, he planned it based on what he'd learned in Japan. I am happy that JICA can assist this project under JICA Follow-up Cooperation Program. Although the amount is not bigger than 6.5 million Jamaican dollars. JICA has been offering several training programs to NSWMA since 1980s. So far about 30 NSWMA staff had participated in these JICA training programs.
This is a good government initiative based on a sponsorship from the Japanese government. It has allowed us to be one of the pilot projects, and we, the citizens and the residents of Caymanas, are grateful for this project because it allows us to sort our garbage, especially with the PET bottles. These are a continuous growing source of concern for our garbage collection with regards to blocking our drains and causing havoc on sea life. NSWMA Solid Waste Management has given us the bags so that it will encourage residents to carry out their bottles and put them in a central area that will be collected once a week. We will be sensitizing the residents based on the fact that it will encourage us to reduce our solid waste disposal.
We are taking up the plastic bottles, which we call the PET bottles, for recycling. So what we do, we separate them from the regular garbage in order to have the community be in a better environment. We have collections at the primary school, the Raleigh-Town Primary School, at 17 Montego Street, at the fire station, and Arcot Road for now, but we are enlightening the rest of the community people about this project. It will help the community in a vibrant way because less garbage, less bottles being around, seeing that we have the Zika virus around, this will also help to decrease the mosquito-borne disease being harbored around.
I think it is a phenomenal first step in the right direction that Jamaica needs to go, engaging the community. Recycling Partners, as you know, fully endorses the program. And as we mentioned, we will continue once your test period is done. We are committed to continue cleaning up those neighborhoods and collecting the bottles. And we'll also use it as a test pilot for other communities that we are hoping to bring on board.
Waste separation is the way forward, and the NSWMA, through our partners, is working to make this a way of life for all.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Respecting and upholding the rights of every human being must be the priority of each and every one of us. This year, in observance of International Human Rights Day, the call is being made for everyone to stand up for someone's right. Justice Minister Delroy now has a message as he leads that charge.
My fellow Jamaicans, today Jamaica joins with the rest of the world in observing International Human Rights Day, which is themed Stand Up for Someone's Rights Today. This theme must resonate in the hearts and minds of Jamaicans everywhere who know of our proud legacy in advancing the international agenda for human rights. Lest we forget, Jamaica was the first country to have declared an embargo against the apartheid regime in South Africa. Jamaica was the country that proposed that the United Nations observe 1968 as a year of international human rights. That proved to be the watershed year in the advance of the global agenda and global awareness of human rights. Jamaica has ratified several of the major international human rights conventions and covenants, some of which seek to codify the rights of special groups such as children, women, and persons living with disability. We have established institutions such as the Office of the Public Defender, the Office of Children's Advocate, and more recently, the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM. Jamaica has done outstandingly well in areas such as the right to free speech, the right to associate, the right to worship, freedom of movement, and so on. We're living in times that urge us to stand taller and do better in the protection of human rights of our citizens. We still have an unfinished agenda in human rights which require bold and inspiring leadership to help us reclaim our legacy as a human rights beacon. This government, of which I am a part, remains committed and resolute in honoring the promises of successive governments in the conventions, covenants, and treaties that we have signed and ratified. We will establish the long-promised National Human Rights Institute beginning in the first quarter of next year, which, though not a panacea, will be a guiding hand in shaping the forward agenda for human rights. The Ministry of Justice will pursue an aggressive public awareness campaign to educate Jamaicans about their rights and to increase access to our legislation. We have the support of our international partners, and this push will be executed as an important aspect of the justice reform agenda. We have just received 24 million euros from the European Union to improve access of vulnerable and special groups to the criminal justice system, advance the implementation of the child diversion program to stop making criminals of our children, improve the treatment of children who are in conflict with the law, and to mainstream restorative practices into the criminal justice system, among other things. Every Jamaican and all state institutions must do their part in honoring the compact that Jamaica has made to respect the fundamental rights of our citizens. The burden of responsibility rests on the government to ensure that there exists a culture of best practice in protecting and safeguarding the rights of Jamaicans, and especially their right to life. The government also has an obligation to ensure that the legislative, policy, and institutional capacity exists for effective sanctions against violations of human rights. But most important of all, we must abandon our seemingly ready recourse to retribution, brutality, and cruelty, especially in tough times. We must change the way we raise our children, treat our boys in the school environment, our policing practice, and in how we treat those who are incarcerated. We can and must do better than we are doing. As we pause for reflection today, let us not lose sight of how we stood up for the rights of others in the international community when things were tough. Jamaica led from the front as true soldiers of human rights. But let us now turn our gaze inward and redouble our effort in standing up for the rights of our people right here in Jamaica, land we love. The government must lead from the front. we must welcome the help of others at home and abroad as we move to usher in a new era in human rights right here in Jamaica.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
Government is reducing the energy bill in the public sector and saving the country millions annually. By design, the plan includes retrofitting the lighting, air conditioning systems and roofing in state buildings, replacing them with ones that are energy efficient and helps with conservation. More in this next feature.
Since 2011, the government has set out to reduce its energy expenditure, and with a loan of $20 million from the Inter-American Development Bank, the Energy Efficiency and Conservation EEC program was activated. The program identified areas within the public sector that are to benefit from energy efficiency opportunities. Energy audits were carried out on several government buildings. The findings revealed savings of approximately $100 million if the recommended retrofits are undertaken. This covers the following areas:
retrofitting of air conditioning units, old and inefficient air conditioning units, the replacement of different types of lighting in the various office buildings, application of what's called solar control film to the windows, and the application of cool roof solutions to the roof of the various facilities.
As the work got off to a start, cool roof application and the tinting of windows were applied to several government buildings, including the Office of the Prime Minister, the National Housing Trust, and the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The procedure is to significantly reduce the heat on the buildings.
Those sets of retrofits are continuing today. The solar control film, the majority of that was completed over a 10 to 12 month period. The cool roof was completed as well.
Having done the building envelope retrofits, the air conditioning needs would be considerably lower now that the buildings are much cooler. So the next step is assessing the current air conditioning configuration, and where there is inefficiency, corrective measures are taken.
The air conditioning retrofits, those have been progressing, and those continue to progress through to today. We started with the Jamaica Information Service. We also did work at KPH, Victoria Jubilee Hospital. We are still doing work at the Mobile Revenue Center in Montego Bay, and we are completing work at the Don Sangster building downtown.
In addition to replacing the units, part of the Energy Efficiency Conservation Program is the implementation of a management system that will automatically turn off or lower the temperature on air conditioning units when no one is occupying the room, and do the same for lights. The aim is to use cooling and lighting only where it is absolutely necessary. Serious about cutting its electricity bill significantly, the government also set out to address the need for more efficient lighting across government entities. With all these drastic changes, public sector workers were brought on board to promote the conservation of energy within their respective ministries and agencies.
In doing so, the government was able to design a program, along with the assistance of the IDB, to target not only the institutions themselves, but also the employees, to bring them on board and to have them trained in energy conservation methods, tips, and certain other things that the facilities managers could do, as well as the employees themselves could do. We actually have a public education campaign that we're now starting with the GIS. And that also involves not just public education, but also going into the various organizations and meeting with the staff, sharing with them some of the best practices, giving them some tips and so on, as to how they can also play a role in energy conservation.
Officers with responsibility for energy management were also trained in areas such as the importance of energy conservation to national development, the impact on the performance of government entities, and workers' role in managing government's energy assets and resources. These officers will now be able to evaluate their ministry or department's energy usage and effectively monitor and take the necessary corrective action.
The IDB, when it just started this program, said it was what they call a paradigm shift in the way government does business in Jamaica. And so we now have a cadre of people, cadre of personnel, cadre of professionals who have gone through the fire, so to speak, and now have that information, have that training, have that knowledge to be able to impart to the wider Caribbean, wider Jamaica.
The government, through the Energy Efficiency Conservation Program, is bent on making the public sector an energy-conscious model for the rest of the society.
And in terms of actual savings, measurable and verified savings, we have a cumulative of about 80 million Jamaican dollars in savings to date.
We are currently projecting to, at the end, be saving somewhere in the region of 175,000 barrels of oil for once the overall implementation, and we're talking about greenhouse gas emission savings of over 86,000 tons per year.
Up next, top stories making news this week.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, along with members of the private sector, civil society and trade unions, signed a new 4-year social partnership agreement this Wednesday. He pledged to work with the members to achieve the shared vision of a flourishing country.
And that's the basis of the partnership, for all the stakeholders to figure out how to move from a win-lose to a win-win, so that we all can have the benefit of these ambitious goals that we all agree are necessary. So the partnership is not just signing a piece of paper. For me, it is a very important mechanism to manage change, resolve conflict.
Government signed an agreement with the European Union on Thursday that will provide 24 million euros to support justice sector reform work. 22 million euros is for budgetary support and 2 million euros for complementary support. As he welcomed the funds, Justice Minister Delroy announced a raft of measures to improve the delivery of justice in 2017.
In 2017, we'll see us roll out audio, video, and transcription technologies across courts in Jamaica. 2017 will also launch an aggressive Know Your Rights campaign. The restorative justice program will accelerate and move into schools with at least 3 trained and certified restorative practice facilitators in each school. The target is to reach 1,000 schools across the parish.
At a previous function, the Justice Minister announced that people who commit non-fatal offences and agree to enter guilty pleas in exchange for lighter sentences could later have their records expunged from the system.
Because I dare say, unless we have more guilty pleas, the backlogs in the court will never be addressed. And we're going to go on a major drive next year to get persons to admit their wrongdoing. And once they are willing to admit their wrongdoing, the state must have some mercy.
He says the Criminal Justice Plea Negotiations and Agreement Act will be amended to facilitate the expungements. Minister Chuck was speaking at a recent swearing-in ceremony for 37 new justices of the peace for St. Anne. The Islington Police Station in St. Mary has received a new closed-circuit television CCTV system courtesy of Quest Security. Minister of National Security Robert Montego says the system will help to provide stricter monitoring of prisoners to prevent escapes and access to contrabands.
We have seen it in Arokobesa where a man attempted with a pole to send things into the Arokobesa station. There was an incident in Kingston when a drone actually crashed on the compound of a prison. We really don't know what it was doing or what it was carrying, because there was a package that was not retrieved. So the CCTV system will help us to keep the station safe, to keep the prisoners safe, and to keep the men and women who serve here safe.
Meanwhile, the Security Ministry is providing training to equip policemen and women with the tools to recognize, deal with, and respond to domestic violence. This is in light of statistics which show that approximately 37% of murders committed in Jamaica stem from domestic incidents.
We can cut that into 10% by a quarter. We would have made significant progress.
The National Security Minister was addressing a domestic violence conflict resolution training session at the Jamaica Conference Center. Minister with responsibility for gender affairs, Olivia Grange, has meanwhile indicated that government will be implementing a raft of measures to address gender-based violence. She says the sexual harassment bill is ready for submission to Cabinet, while the Parliamentary Committee to review the Sexual Offences Act will be announced before the end of the year, and a National Strategic Action Plan to eliminate gender-based violence will also be handed over to Cabinet shortly.
The implementation plan includes an entire program on victims' protection, on redress, on reparation, and rehabilitation.
In excess of 4,000 new airline seats from the United States have been secured for Jamaica's 2016-2017 winter tourist season.
This is due in large measure to the new charter services from Rockford, Illinois by Apple Vacation, which begins in January. Similarly, another gateway from which we expect increased air seats this winter is Minneapolis, which is being served by Delta and Sun Country Charter. In the Northeast, we have direct service from Boston to Delta, starting December 17.
And the Tourism Minister has also announced that more than 1,000 new rooms will be added to the country's hotel room stock in 2017. And finally, Labour and Social Security Minister Shahini Robinson says drafting of the first two codes of practice to enable further recognition of the Disabilities Act will begin next month.
Preliminary information to assist in the formulation of these codes and regulations was gathered from island-wide stakeholders' consultations last year, and expertise is currently being procured to advance this process. We anticipate that this work should begin in January 2017 and be completed within 10 months for transmission to the Chief Parliamentary Council for review.
And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
And this is where we take our leave in yet another enlightening edition of Jamaica Magazine. We value your feedback, so keep the link through our various social media platforms. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm and visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for the latest on government information. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to take care of your health, eat well, exercise, get adequate rest, and make every day a productive one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.